Hyderabad is known for biryani, pearls and, of course, Mohammad Ali Baig. The director Qadir Ali Baig Theatre Foundation conferred the Padma Shri in 2014 for his work in global theatre, stage and a screen actor, and Hyderabad's most celebrated theatre personality, Mohammad Ali Baig, hails from Hyderabad's first family of theatre. He is known for his plays that are larger than life, with an accent on visual aesthetics as much as meaningful content, staged at forts, palaces, historical venues globally. Recipient of various global honors in USA, UK, France, Canada, Turkey and many more. Mohammad Ali Baig, Padma Shri, theatre and film actor, director of Qadir Ali Baig Theatre Foundation. It gives us great pleasure to welcome you onto the stage. Welcome, sir. And may I also call upon Dibang to chair this session.
Good evening, welcome to Southern Rising Summit. I'm Dibang and we have a very special guest for you, theatre director, actor, Mohammad Baig. Aapka swagat.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show and welcome to your own city. Your city is very important for you, I see. And it's a city known for Char Minar and known for biryani. But it's more than that.
Let me also welcome you to the city of Hyderabad. Khush Amdeed, as they say, aapka istiqbal hai. And
Yes.
Adab and welcome to everyone present here who's come to listen to us.
So how is it that you decided to do theatre? What brought you to theatre?
Well, born into theatre, had nothing else to do. You know, grew up in wings, grew up in green rooms, watching Baba do theatre at forts, palaces, etc. At a time during 1970s, 80s when it was in a very nascent stage. So it was an automatic thing for us. Brother was into theatre, mother was into, everyone was into theatre, and it was more of, as they say in Hyderabadi, ghar ki murgi for me. So I in a way groomed into theatre, and naturally grew up in it, but ran away from it. As I said, it scared me initially. Theatre as a medium is very intense, and what also sort of put me off was that Baba and his group would put up months of rehearsals, of costumes, of set making, costume making, etc. And in a couple of shows, it will all be done. It will be relegated to the storerooms. There's no concept of multiple shows or traveling theatre then. Or it was not like Western on Broadway where you start a show, announce a show, and you go for months together, at least 40 days run. So it was very heartbreaking to see all that hard work get over in just a couple of nights. So I went away, I ran away. Moving images caught my attention, and I got attracted to ad films. I didn't have the aptitude for feature films then. So I got into ad films, where you would turn your idea, your vision into, storyboard to first cut would be just 3 weeks. You see your baby taking shape in 3 weeks. So that had what excited me there. But it so happened that 20th anniversary of Baba, I came back to theatre. The government of Andhra Pradesh then was commemorating his 20th anniversary. And when I went there, just chaperoning my mother, late Begum Razia Baig, who we lost this March, I realized that everyone was speaking there, best of directors, writers, actors from the country, speaking about Baba, paying him tribute as if he lost him the previous day or the previous week. And then I realized that this is a legacy that I have to carry. There's something I ran away from, but that is something I should give the city. And Hyderabad was not known for theatre before Baba. There were stand-up comedies, there were sporadic activities. And that's how my journey in theatre began. My second homecoming into theatre.
Hyderabad is a very special city,
Ji.
Considering the multiculturalism of the city in this day and age. How far has the city helped you to do whatever you do?
See, first of all, Hyderabad has a huge legacy of culture, of lifestyle, of cuisine, of language. And though every introduction to Hyderabad or every conversation with Hyderabad begins with Charminar, biryani, pearls, Hyderabad is much more than that. Hyderabad is beyond all that. Hyderabad, I would say, is something like Venice or Istanbul, where you have a mix, something like Delhi, where you have a mix of old world grandiose, old world charm, and the vibrancy of a new city. The parts in Hyderabad, I wouldn't like to call it old city because that's the real city, which are real Hyderabad. There are parts which are completely, today beyond Singapore, almost on par with New York, if those are benchmarks, as our Chief Minister Ravant Reddy Saab was talking about with you in your session with you in the morning. So Hyderabad is much more than that. You know, it's very interesting to note that the very formation of the city is based on love, on pluralism, on syncretic culture, on a popular Ganga Jamuni Tehzeeb. The founder of the city, Quli Qutub Shah Sahab, who was the fourth ruler of the Qutub Shahi dynasty, was a poet himself. He was of Turkish, Iranian descent, so he wrote in Persian, he wrote in Telugu, he wrote in Urdu and Dakhni dialect. So he was the first Sahib-e-Diwan poet. His wife was a dancer, a consort, who became the queen. So Hyderabad would have been the first practicing performing arts center in the world, because the very citadel of power, the Golconda Fort, was such. So what I'm trying to say is, the Ganga Jamuni Tehzeeb is not just a phrase for us. It's ingrained, in us. It's imbibed in a culture, and that's how we grew up, knowing Hyderabad. Hyderabad was the first cosmopolitan city in the world historically. You know, you had business exchanges, you had defense exchanges and defense. You have trade, you had marriages across Iran, the Middle East, African countries, Europe, France. So Hyderabad is much beyond biryani and Charminar and pearls.
And then how did you take your father's brand of theatre global? You did that also.
His theatre, my whole theatre is modeled on his theatre, on larger than life, spectacle theatre. Theatre, spectacle, जो Greece में होता है, Greek theatre में होती थी traditionally. So he performed at Golconda Fort, he performed at what's now called as Jomala Palace, the Khilwat Mubarak then. So I took it, I sort of modernized it. I took it on global stage, Khuli Dilon Ka Shehzada, that we do based on Quli Qutub Shah's life and his and Bhagmati's love legend, to Edinburgh, to France, to UK, Canada, Turkey, Pakistan, everywhere. I mean, I feel lucky and I feel blessed to have done that, to have taken Hyderabadi theatre, original theatre, theatre with essence of, our regional flavor at global stage. There are festivals where we performed at, and we had two versions of those productions, Urdu and English. So when we offered to perform in English, those guys said, no, let's get the flavor of your language, so let's stick to Urdu. So it's very fulfilling when you do something which is your own heritage, which is your own culture. I mean, you're not doing a 500th show of a Shakespeare or a Bernard Shaw play. I mean, there are 100 people who can do that. But if we, as Indians, we as Hyderabadis don't take pride in our own culture, I mean, who else would? So we have to show to the world what we have, to offer to them. And that's how I took it to a global stage.
So one of the criteria when you choose a play is whether it blends well with the city or not. How do you choose which play to do? Do you have that in mind when you're choosing to do a play?
I don't pick plays off the shelf to do it. I don't connect with them, and I feel that as a theatre maker, as a theatre director, if I can't connect with a certain piece of writing, how would I make my audience connect with it? It's very important that you have a certain belief system, and I'm not talking of ideologies here, a certain conviction to what you present on stage. So what we do is we write plays, though they are history-based, they are heritage-based, the premise is historical, for the present generation. So my wife writes it, Noor Baig, who's sitting here, plays Baba had written, plays that we have written together, plays translated by late Khadij Zama Sahab. I read a monologue from one of his plays which is about the city. So what is important for me, and what many theatre makers, filmmakers forget, is that in a visual medium, you're talking to audience. It's theatre, it's cinema, it's television. It's not a piece of art. It's not painting that you do for months and hang it in your living room and 5 of your friends see and say, wow, wow, kamal kar diya. It's for audience. And if I sit on a high horse and say, 8 people sitting here are the intellectual lot who would connect with my theatre, and others are politicians, IT guys and all, I'm mistaken. As a theatre maker, I need to communicate with 90% of people sitting in this auditorium. And that's where I pitch my theatre. Theatre has to connect with the audience. Today, at the touch of a smartphone, you have every form of entertainment, every form of infotainment, sitting at home, sitting in your car, sitting in a metro, sitting at your office. If the audience takes the trouble of coming to the venue, spending an hour, driving an hour back, spending hour and a half, couple of hours at the venue, devoting 3 to 4 hours of your time for you, you better respect their time. You better respect their presence as theatre maker. Don't take them for granted. At the same time, don't sell out and don't sell to galleries. So you have to have that fine blend of intellectualism, of art and commerce, which Baba had done, which I base my theatre on. So you have to connect. We do Kholi Dilon Ka Shehzada, which is a love story of 17th century. But we do it for today's audience because it has to connect with people, like an ad film. You can't say, I made a humorous film, but he doesn't have a sense of humor. He lacks sense of humor. You better, cater to them. Yeah. So that's where I pitch my theatre, and that's why Touchwood, it's sort of a brand today.
Yeah. You talked about technology. We will talk about technology and modern life later. But what I want to know is that when you do theatre at such a grand scale, do you think people criticize you to say that his theatre is just spectacle, nothing else? Meat nahi hai, usme sirf dikhawa hai. What do you face that kind of criticism?
To each his own. अगर आप ये समझते हैं कि एक मारुति 800 ही गाड़ी है, ऑटोमोबाइल है, और कोई आपकी बेंटली या मेबाक ऑटोमोबाइल नहीं है या दिखावा है, I'm saying to each his own. It's what you can pitch to your audience. It's what you can create as a theatre maker. आपका फोते क्या है? उस हिसाब से आप theatre करेंगे. And people label it as page 3 theatre, as designer theatre. In fact, when we started Khadir Ali Baig Theatre Foundation to revive theatre as a tribute to Baba, many people came to me and said, why are you flogging a dead horse? थिएटर तो ख़त्म हो चुकी है, अभी YouTube आ रहा है और फला इतने चैनल्स आ गए हैं. Same people come now backstage and thank us. And what's fulfilling is when I go to these universities or colleges and schools, they invite me for their annual days. from the time when theatre or performing arts was extracurricular, to parents coming up and saying, "Sir, this is my son Rahul, this is my daughter Najma. Tell me, how do they grow up to be like you?" And that's completely, flattering. That's completely fulfilling. Because I'm not a Bollywood star, I'm not a IPL icon. To be able to get 1,500 people, 200, 1,200 people when we open a show at Golconda Fort or Chowmola Palace, people buying tickets, driving all the way, coming, is because they value what we're giving them. Because it's theatre. अब आप कहिए उसको पेज 3 थिएटर है या बैंड है या डिजाइनर थिएटर है, it's a compliment. I mean, I feel nice when people dress up. People are in their Gucci's and Pradas, driving their Bentleys and Prados and coming to watch my theatre. I mean, why not?
And buying tickets for your place.
Buying tickets and asking, lining up for invites. It complements theatre.
So modern life, forever moving faster, scattered, more scattered, it drives away concentration, and technology is blamed for that. Do you face this challenge where people can just watch things in 20 seconds? There's TikTok, there's YouTube, there is OTT. Is it a challenge for you as a theatre director?
It is. As I said, you need to not let people shy away from coming to your shows. As I said, there's everything available at home, at workplace, in your car, in public transport systems. They look for that intellectual stimulation, and hence they come and watch theatre. You see everything available. If you look at cuisine, if you look at any culinary delight, it's available today. You can make it in a few minutes. You can microwave them, right? You can order them on your food apps. But why do you, talking of biryani, why do you spend 4-6 hours making biryani or anything else? Because you want to experience, you want that experience, you want to feel that experience. Theatre is something like that.
What would you say to people, who say that language itself is dying today? You exchange messages, and messages you don't even write the full words, you just do emojis. It's, as if we are in the cave age.
Yeah.
Thumbs up, heartbreak, smiley, applaud.
You send someone a very serious message of someone passing away, and then they say RIP. That's it. I'm on the way. Okay. As I said, literature, performing arts needs to be taken beyond the niche audience. And it's up to theatre makers, to writers, up to filmmakers to make it more palatable. I mean, there's that divide in cinema, which is commercial, which is art or art house. The similar divide in theatre, which sells to galleries, which sells to front benchers, and some which is completely art house stuff. But when you do a blend of both, that's where you meet the trend.
But for this, we have seen before independence, there were Nababs, there were Maharajas, Maharaja of Patiala, for instance, Nabab of Rampur. They patronize these arts, singers, classical singers. Do you have that kind of patronage from the state now?
Yeah, so even the Asafjai dynasty, the Nizams of Hyderabad had patronized art. Wajid Ali Shah Sahab patronized art in Awadh and Lucknow. We're lucky to have the state government supporting us. We're lucky to have the tourism department supporting us, the new CM supporting us. We are lucky to have the best of brands supporting us. And it's a win-win situation for both. It should be like that. When brands come on board, why should they support theatre? Why should they support heritage theatre? Unless they get something out of it. So there's enough support if you seek support. There's enough support if your theatre, if you raise your theatre to an extent, to a level where any brand in the country would say, hey, listen, can I come and associate with you? Can I be your title sponsor for this? And touch wood, that's happening. We pick the best of brands around the country. They are with the Qadir Ali Baig Theatre Festival. They are with our plays. So one is to say we don't have venues. In a place like Hyderabad, we don't have a single dedicated venue for theatre. We have everything else. We have the largest expressway in Asia. We are best IT hub here. We have best incubation centers. We have pharma capital. We are a hospital, a health capital of the country. But we don't have a theatre venue. So one way of doing theatre is to say, I don't have this, I don't have support, I don't have actors because they are being sucked up by OTT. The other way is to say, listen, I'm doing it, are you coming along? And when you lead the way, people follow. And that's what has happened here.
Do you get actors? Because theatre for a lot of people is just like a stepping stone. And then they are lured by OTTs, cinema.
We do get actors, and I'm also an accidental actor because of that. When I came back into theatre, producing and directing, I never wanted to be an actor. I never trained to be an actor. So all the actors I had in my previous productions were hitting jackpot and being very busy, so busy that they weren't available to us. So as a result, I had to put myself and say, listen, 15 days to the show. Who's playing the lead? So that's how I became an actor. And we get actors. But I have friends in Bombay, friends in Delhi who are complaining that people don't come for rehearsals anymore. People don't spend time in theatre because there are other platforms which are attracting them, paying them well. Theatre has been a casualty ever since, cinema came in. Black and white cinema, Parsi theatre, talent went there. And then, the color television came in. A lot of your best of theatre people, technicians, actors went there. It'll continue. It'll grow. It's a symbiotic process. People who are committed to theatre, who work in theatre with conviction, will stay in theatre.
CSR is a huge fund which is given to different charitable things. Do you think it should be open to arts and culture also? There should be a new policy to say that CSR fund should also be allowed to things like theatre?
Unfortunately, mandate of CSR with most corporates doesn't permit theatre or performing arts patronage. It's more towards health, more towards education. But it depends on who's sitting to sign the check. If the person there who approves it thinks that, yes, this purpose, this cause has to be supported, then they are with you on board. But as you pointed out, probably CSR has to come in, sponsors have to come in to support theatre, to support performing arts.
What gives you satisfaction? The whole process of doing a play, the applause at the end of the play, the fact that you could connect with the audience during the play. What gives you the most satisfaction?
More than the process, it's what I get center stage in my productions. Hyderabadi heritage, Hyderabadi history, heroes of our history. And by heroes, I don't mean the gender guy, man himself. Most of my plays have been women-centric. Central characters, women characters have been heroes of history. Thanks to my mother, who was my hero. So that gives me a great satisfaction that you're bringing alive heroes who have contributed to your history, who have contributed to the kind of shape or grooming the city has had and its culmination. And we have to pay tribute to those heroes, those heroines on stage. So when they come alive, if I'm doing something at Golconda Fort, bringing their story alive, or at the other iconic venues, they come alive. And when the audience says, Biksa, for 2 hours, we were lost into that era. It took us, half an hour to come back to reality. We were lost in 17th century, 15th century, whatever the theme was. That gives you satisfaction. That gives you an immense applause. Yes, every artist works for applause, for acclaim. The process for me is a day's job. And my approach to theatre is like an architect's or a bureaucrat's or an engineer's or a doctor's. It's not a pastime for me, it's not a hobby for me. It's a full-time activity, and so it is for everyone involved with Khadir Ali Baig Theatre Foundation.
Another big chapter of your life are the ad films you did.
Right.
And people still talk about your 2004 ad film for Aditya Birla. Tell us about it.
That was the biggest film that year, because $1 million film wasn't heard of in the country, and I'm proud to say that that was shot in Hyderabad. That originated from Hyderabad, India's biggest film. That was the first film where the company, Aditya Birla Group, was going high profile. The Ambanis were high profile, the Tatas were high profile there with the communication. Birlas weren't. They're very conservative, and that was the first piece of communication. They were, and that line they still continue that line, taking India to the world. You know, so that was an experience where we worked with a 150 member crew. We worked with technicians from everywhere, from Hollywood, from France, from Israel. So that was a very fulfilling exercise for me. And all those 400 ad films that we did, sent benchmarks, won awards, sold brands. Because the best ad film, they say, is not what gets you the award or what you put on your show reel, but what moves the product off the shelf. You know, that's successful advertising, as they say.
And then you have acted in films also. What is it that draws you to films? What do you like about film acting?
That again is accidental. My wife, who hails from Chennai, had a lot of friends in the film industry, and when they won't find an actor to fit the character, they would call me, and I would, obeying wife's orders, right? And secondly, obliging. That's how I started getting into films and got into OTT. There's a lovely piece of audio that I have, a song on Hyderabad, that is very meaningful, that I would like to play before. Can we have it?
Please.
It's called "Ye Hyderabad Hai Dosto." If you play, then I'll read out the lyrics and tell you what it means. This I composed for a play called His Exalted Highness, which we did at Chowmohalla Palace.
गली दामन मोहब्बत वफा के बाजू यहाँ की राहें गुजरती सदियों की मुस्कुराहटें यहाँ के महलात सहरगाहें लगाए सयाहों को गले से हमारी सनगिरी की बाहें खिले खिले दिल फरेब चेहरे मसरतें बांटती निगाहें ये हैदराबाद है दोस्तों यही हमेशा कायम कर लो ये हैदराबाद है दोस्तों यही हमेशा कायम कर लो
इट्स ये हैदराबाद है दोस्तों यहीं हमेशा क़याम कर लो गली गली दामन मोहब्बत वफा के बाजू यहाँ की राहें गुजरती सदियों की मुस्कुराहटें यहाँ के महलात सहरगाहें लगाए सयाहों को गले से हमारी सनदगिरी की बाहें खिले खिले दिल फरेब चेहरे मसरतें बांटती निगाहें ये हैदराबाद है दोस्तों यहीं हमेशा क़याम कर लो. It says this is Hyderabad, make it your abode, and it talks about how love and everything is found in every nook and corner of the city.
Mohammad Baig, thank you so much. That's all the time we have. Wish you many, many successful
so much.
openings in future. Thank you.
Thank you, and my gratitude to ABP, particularly Kaveri Bamzai ji, who invited us here, and thank you so much for letting me.
Thank you.
Thank you.